Hello and welcome. Continuing with the topic of variation in RBC morphology, next we come to the teardrop cell or dacrocyte. So the dacrocytes or teardrops, they are simply tear-shaped RBCs. So you can see here, these are the tear-shaped RBCs and or pear-shaped, and they can be seen in conditions such as microcytic hypochromic anemia, like in severe iron deficiency anemia and thalassemia. And second is the bone marrow infiltrative conditions, which we also call as myelophthisic anemia. So in this is the condition where the bone marrow gets infiltrated by certain malignancies, like they can be metastasis or leukemia lymphoma infiltration, or due to fibrosis in the marrow, like in the condition of myelofibrosis, or if there is granulomatous inflammation affecting the bone marrow. So in all these cases, or if there is storage disorder which is seen in the bone marrow. So in all these conditions, the bone marrow is infiltrated by these foreign pathologies, and because of that there is myelophthisic anemia, and the RBCs, they are the form which are forming inside the bone marrow, they get deformed into this tear shape. And another condition is the myelodysplastic syndrome. So in all these conditions, we should remember that the teardrop cells are seen, and they are also known as dacrocyte. Now next is schistocytes. So schistocytes, they are the fragmented RBCs. Here in this picture you can see these are the fragmented RBCs. So generally it is said that if 3 per 5,000 RBCs we are seeing which are fragmented, then we label it as schistocytosis occurring in the peripheral smear. So different kinds of schistocytes are there, and they don't have any central pallor, so they are completely hemoglobinized. Like different schistocytes can be like comet cell, which is having a tail, like then triangular cell, or helmet cell, like this helmet cell, or microspherocyte, which are very small and fully hemoglobinized. So these are the different forms of schistocytes which can be seen. And the differential diagnosis, if we see schistocytes, first is the microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, in which DIC, disseminated intravascular coagulation, is the most common cause causing MAHA. Other causes can be hemolytic uremic syndrome, thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura, then disseminated cancers, and prosthetic cardiac valves. In case of prosthetic cardiac valves, we see the cardiac hemolytic anemia. It is because of the mechanical trauma which is increased due to the turbulence of the blood due to this mechanical cardiac valves. So these are the important conditions where schistocytes are seen, and in these images we can see this is microspherocyte, and this is the helmet cell, and again all these are the schistocytes. Now here you can see these are triangular cell. So these are all the schistocytes which are fragmented RBCs. Now next important difference between the echinocytes, also known as Burr cells, and acanthocytes, also known as Spur cells. So sometimes we get confused between these two cells, and MCQs generally come from these two cells. So echinocytes, echino comes from the word echino, means literal meaning is hedgehog. So the cell gets its name from this hedgehog, in which these projections are seen on the surface of RBC, which are regular, and they are 10 to 30 in number, but they are regular. They look like a bottle cap. So you see they are regular and 10 to 30 in number, and they are of the same size. So looks like a bottle cap. And the differential diagnosis is, one is the artifact. If the blood is allowed to stand and we make a delay in making the blood smear, we can see these echinocytes or Burr cells very commonly. Secondly, very important, uremia. So echinocytes, they are seen in the renal disease, while the acanthocytes, they are seen in the liver disease. This you have to remember. And another condition is patients undergoing cardiopulmonary bypass. So these echinocytes, Burr cells, they are short in size, and they are regular and about 10 to 13 number, while acanthocytes, acantho means thorn, so they are like spicules, and they are small in number, and they are irregular in the length. So you can see the length is not regular, some are long, some are short, and they are irregularly present. They are not regularly distributed over the surface of the RBC. Acanthocytes, they are irregularly disposed, while they are regularly disposed on the surface of the cell. Differential diagnosis is important. A beta lipoproteinemia, this often comes in the MCQ. Then another cause is splenectomy, hyposplenism, or severe liver disease. So you just have to remember that echinocytes, they are seen in the renal disease. Acanthocytes, they are seen in the liver disease. Now next we come to the stomatocyte. So stomatocyte, the name suggests, stoma means mouth. So there is central biconcave mouth-like pattern seen in the RBC. So there is a slit-like space which is seen in the RBC, and there is a stomatocyte. So surface area to volume ratio is decreased in a stomatocyte. And differential diagnoses are hereditary stomatocytosis, alcoholism, and liver disease. Now next important cell is the target cell, or also known as codocyte, also known as Mexican head cells. So here there is a RBC in which there is central portion of hemoglobinization. So it looks like a target, like this bullseye, or sometimes like a Mexican head. So this is a Mexican head. So when we see from the top, it looks like a target cell. So also known as Mexican head cell. So in the target cells, the membrane is increased. So in conditions when there is hypercholesterolemia, like in chronic liver diseases, or in the condition of hereditary beta lipoproteinemia, again it is target cells are seen. They can also be seen in thalassemia more commonly, and sometimes also in the severe iron deficiency anemia, but more commonly they will be seen in the thalassemia. And this is also important differentiated point between the thalassemia and iron deficiency anemia, that target cells will be seen more in the thalassemia. Then again in certain hemoglobinopathies like the hemoglobin C disease, also in hemoglobin H disease, sometimes sickle cell anemia, sickle cell hemoglobin C trait. So in all these conditions, again target cells can be seen. And last condition is post splenectomy. So the important point is that the membrane is increased. There is increased when the membrane is more loaded with the cholesterol. In that case, the target cells are seen, and the surface area to volume ratio will be therefore be increased. So membrane is increased and the hemoglobin is decreased. So we see a central round area of hemoglobinization, which is surrounded by a halo, and then again it is surrounded by an area of hemoglobinization, and it gives to the formation of this target cell. So again, this is important. These differential diagnoses, they are important to know. Next we come to the bite cell, blister cell, and horn cells. So all these cells, they are seen in the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. So first of all, the bite cell, it is formed when in bite cell this seems like a bite is taken out of these RBCs by the splenic macrophages. So generally when there is a Heinz body which is denatured hemoglobin, which is seen in case of G6PD deficiency. So when denatured hemoglobin is present in the RBC, it's generally seen near the membrane, and it is the splenic macrophages, they take a bite out of these cells containing the Heinz bodies, and a bite cell is formed. Then second, these are the blister cells. They are the smaller in size, and they lack a central pallor, so it appears like a vacuole in the periphery of the cell. So you can see that there is a thin rim of cell membrane which is enclosing this vacuole in the periphery of the RBC. So blister cell gets its name from the blister, which is generally we get in the skin if we get burns. So it has, the blister wall is also thin, and again in this blister cell, this thin cell membrane is enclosing this vacuole like a blister. So that's why they are known as the blister cells. And thirdly, the horn cells. So the horn cells can also be seen in case of this G6PD deficiency. So in G6PD deficiency, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, there is oxidative damage to the red blood cell which occurs because of certain agents. When the body gets exposed to certain oxidizing agents like fava beans, anti-malarial drugs, sulfonamides, and infections. In all these conditions, there is increased oxidative damage to RBC because this enzyme is deficient. This enzyme helps to keep glutathione in the reduced form and prevents the oxidative damage to the RBCs. So in these G6PD deficiency, we can see the bite cell, blister cell, and horn cells. Again, this information is important for the problem-based questions. And bite cell, blister cell, additionally, they can also be seen in the unstable hemoglobinopathies. Now next we come to the sickle cells or drepanocytes. So they are also known as drepanocytes, and sickle cells, they get their name from the sickle, which is used to cut the crops. So the sickle cells, in this there is mutation of the beta chain, and at the 6th position, in place of glutamine, the valine comes and the HBS is formed. So HBS, when there is a hypoxia, then they polymerize to form the and they form the sickle shape of the RBCs. Now in sickle cell disease, we can also see the target cells and we can see the papinemer bodies. Sickling, generally it occurs, the polymerization of the HBS molecules, it occurs as low pH and at low oxygen. Now what are the tests for sickling? In the test for sickling, we use chemicals like 2% sodium metabisulfite or dithionite. Now this is important for the MCQs, and also sometimes it is asked in Viva. So what we take a slide, then we put a drop of blood on it, we mix it with this chemical 2% sodium metabisulfite, then we cover it with a cover slip. We seal the cover slip with the help of a nail paint or some adhesive, and after that this creates a condition of decreased oxygen in that area. When we seal that cover slip, then there is decreased oxygen in within that blood drop. So after that we observe it in the microscope and we will see that there will increase sickling. So this is known as a test for sickling, and these chemicals are very important. And also it is asked that what is the investigation for choice. So it is HPLC, high performance liquid chromatography. This is the investigation of choice for sickle cell anemia. So again I will be continuing this topic in the third lecture. Thank you.